So I pretty much never do this, but in my most recent vlog, I talked about how I would rather be a renter than a homeowner. And I've upset a few people by saying that because home ownership is a goal for a lot of people. And I understand that goal. I didn't mean to upset anybody. I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. So I thought I would provide a little bit of insight into why I feel so strongly about being a renter as opposed to a homeowner, especially in today's economic climate. I did buy my first house when I was 20 years old, and I bought that house because I had to. I'll explain that in a second, but I was only able to buy that house because I was a first-time home buyer and was able to qualify for down payment assistance. I used a state-funded mortgage program that allows you to finance the loan on the house as well as the down payment and a portion of the closing costs. The seller paid the rest of the closing costs, making it possible for me to afford that house. And when I say I bought that house because I had to, it is because that mortgage payment on that little 700 square foot townhouse was cheaper than renting even a studio apartment in that area. Now, I'm like 20 years old. I was making like $9 an hour working at Walgreens in the photo lab, but I did the best I could. I lived in that house for 5 or 6 years, kind of moved up, got some new jobs, got some better income, decided to sell that house and move into something a little bit bigger, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. I did sell that townhouse and made a little bit of money, but while I lived in that townhouse, I had to replace the roof and the air conditioning, and I had debt that I took with me to that second house. The money I did get from the sale of house number 1 had to go to the down payment of house number 2 because I was no longer a first-time home buyer. Then house number 3 is the infamous Northern Virginia house, which we moved for jobs. And that house took me 10 months to sell. And that whole 10 months, I am paying the mortgage, I'm paying utilities, I'm paying to have the grass mowed every 2 weeks on a 2-acre property. I replaced the carpet, I painted the house, I painted the kitchen, well, had it painted, because I was trying to make it more sellable. All that while, it took me 10 months to sell that house, and I broke even at the end of it. Like, I lost money because of all of these things that I had to pay for, but I sold it for what I owed on it, and I was just able to wash my hands of it. So yeah, after all is said and done, I would rather be a renter right now at this point in my life.